Hello students, welcome in GS Commerce College Varda. I am Professor Shailesh Bisen. I am teaching to you BCom second year, third sem financial accounting. Now, in my previous lectures, I have given the detailed information about consignment and basic journal entries of consignment and which accounts are prepared by consignor and consignee for keeping the financial record of consignment. I have already given that. From today, we are starting to numerical problem. This is my first numerical problem. So I am giving the information about example orally. You can write it in your textbook, okay, notebook. So now example start. There have one consignor whose name is RS Traders. RS Traders Varda. RS Traders Varda consign 5,000 toys. Consign 5,000 toys to of rupees 100 each to SB Traders sale. Okay, the example. RS Traders Varda consigned 5,000 toys to 5,000 toys of rupees 100 each to SB Traders sale. So now in this example, RS Traders is become a consignor. So in the book of consignor, it means in the books of RS Traders. In the books of RS Traders. In the books of consignor means in the books of RS Traders. RS Traders. It's prepare consignment account, goods sent on consignment account. If they have the bills receivable account, consignee's account. The three compulsory accounts: consignment account, goods sent on consignment account, and consignee's account. I have already prepared there because I want to save the time. Then in the books of consignee, means now in this example SB Traders Selu, it's a consignee. RS Traders Varda. RS Traders Varda is a consignor and SB Traders Selu, it's a consignee. Okay. The example start. RS Traders Varda consigned 5,000 toys. 5,000 toys to SB Traders Sale. The cost price of each toy is rupees 100 each. Okay. SB Traders Sale, it's entitled. It's a consignee which entitled 10% normal commission and 2% Dale Creeder commission. Okay, Dale Creeder commission. SB Traders Sale, it means consignee is entitled 10% normal commission and 2% Dale Creeder commission. When RS Traders consign SB Traders for sale the goods, at that time the deal made between the consignor and consignees, means RS Traders and SB Traders, they decide that RS Traders allowed the normal commission at 10% and 2% Dale Creeder commission. And on the start the consignment by RS Traders sent 5,000 toys of rupees 100 each to SB Traders. This is the first transaction and the rate of consignment is usable at the time of calculating the commission. So RS Traders Varda consign the 5,000 toys of rupees 100 each. This is the first transaction, and when consignor, it means RS Traders consign the goods to SB Traders, at that time is passed first journal entry for goods send the goods to consignee. And the entry is that journal entry for this transaction: consignment account debit and goods sent on consignment account credit. This is the first entry, and I have also given the information about that in basic journal entries and the pro forma of consignment account. Now once again I repeated that all the expenses which are related to consignment are recorded at the debit side of consignment account. All expenses. This account is prepared for keeping the financial record and find out the profit or loss on consignment. So all the expenses which are done for the consignment are recorded at the debit side of consignment account, and all incomes which we got from consignment are recorded at the credit side of consignment account. Okay, so RS traders consign the goods to SB traders. Consigner consign the goods to consignee. At that time it pass the journal entry consignment account debit and goods sent on consignment account credit. So it's recorded at the debit side of consignment account by the name of goods sent on consignment account. Amount rupees 5 lakh. 5,000 toys, each of rupees 100. It means 5,000 multiplied by 100 is equal to 5 lakh. Goods consigned by consigner to consignee, rupees 5 lakh. So it's recorded at the debit side of consignment account, always recorded at the credit side of the goods sent on consignment account by the name of consignment account. Okay, this is most important transactions because now every example it's a compulsory transaction. So first entry is that clear, it's a compulsory. Consignment account debit, goods sent on consignment account credit. Just change the amount. Only change the amount in every example, but the entry have same. It has same. Consignment account debit, goods sent on consignment account credit. When consignor send the goods to consignee, at that time consignee never pass the journal entry for this transaction. Consignee never pass the journal entry for taking the goods from consignee. Only consignor pass the journal entry like that. Consignment account debit and goods sent on consignment account credit. Okay. Then consignor, it means RS traders. RS traders for sending the goods. RS traders pay rupees 2,000 packing expenses. I am just preparing the example and how to solve it. Okay, just focus on the transactions which I tell you, and how to keeping the record of these transactions. Okay, continuously. Now RS traders spend expenses. RS traders spend expenses rupees 2,000 as a packing expenses, rupees 3,000 for carriage and cartage. RS traders paid expenses rupees 2,000, packing expenses 3,000, carriage and cartage, and also RS traders, listen very carefully, continuously we preparing the example and solve it. Okay, so RS traders spend rupees 2,000 for packing expenses, 3,000 for carriage and cartage, and also it spend rupees 2 per ton, rupees 2 per ton for insurance and freight. Okay, consignor send the goods. After that they are preparing the example. After that it spend expenses rupees 2,000 for packing expenses, rupees 3,000 for carriage, cartage, and it's also paid rupees 2 per ton for insurance and freight. Okay, these are the consignor's expenses. RS traders incurred some expenses, and basic entry for incurring the expenses by consignor is that it's a consignment's expenses, so they are recorded at the debit side of consignment account, and when consignor paid the cash, at a time cash goes out, for that cash account credit. It means when consignor made expenses, it passed the journal entry consignment account debit and cash or bank account credit. So now there RS traders spent expenses, so it passed the journal entry consignment account debit and cash account credit. So it's recorded at the debit side by the name of cash account. Normally there are in several books, and several teachers said that bank account credit, and now today's world it's possible, but many times when you call the auto driver, auto owner, truck owner, at that time you just pay the amount in cash format. So normally today is a digital world, but many transactions are done directly in cash format. So cash, you can also create the bank account as depend upon you and depend upon the reality of transaction. So cash or bank account amount, calculate the amount. You can also write there packing expenses rupees 2000, then carriage and cartage rupees 3000, carriage and cartage rupees 3000, then freight, insurance and freight, insurance and freight. Now 2000 for packing expenses, for packing the goods. Consignor send the goods to consignee, so it have need to making a packing which secured the goods. For that it spent 2000 rupees. Carriage and cartage, then insurance, it taking the insurance and freight for carry the goods. Paid rupees 2 per ton, and there it have consigned 5000 toys, and for every ton he have need to spend rupees 2. So these expenses will become rupees 10,000. It means 5000 multiplied by 2 is equal to 10,000. So right now there rupees 10,000. The total amount paid by consignor is rupees 15,000. Okay. Consignor paid expenses. Entry consignment account debit and cash or bank account credit. I credited the cash account. Okay. Understood that? Firstly consign goods, after that it spend the expenses, and it's also compulsory expenses. Only name of expenses and amount has changed, but it's a 99% compulsory expenses which are generally made by consignor, and it's a transaction of every example. Goods sent, without sending goods it's not become a consignment, so it's a compulsory transactions. Okay, first transaction goods sent on consignment, and second transaction consignors paid the expenses. Now these transactions are only related to the consignor. They have no any relation of consignee. So consignee can't pass the journal entries of these transactions which are done by the consignor. Consignor send the goods, just consignor pass entry. Consignee never pass the journal entry of that transaction, and also consignor spend expenses, it will pass the entry, but consignee never pass the entry. Okay, so consignee don't keep the record of these transactions which are done by consignor. Then second transaction over. Okay, consignor send the goods to, it means RS traders send the goods to SB traders sale, who is entitled 2% normal commission and 10% normal commission and 2% day trader commission. It's one agent who appointed for sell the goods. Two transactions are done. Okay. After that, consignor, it means RS traders drew a 4 months bill. Listen carefully. RS traders drew a 4 months bill on SB trader. It means consignor drew a 4 months bill of rupees 1 lakh. As RS traders drew a bill of 4 months of rupees 1 lakh on SB traders, and SB traders accepted that. Okay. The next information of about our example is that RS traders drew a 4 months bill on SB traders of rupees 1 lakh. This is the next transaction. Okay, RS traders drew a bill and SB traders accepted that. The bill of rupees 1 lakh for which have the duration of 4 months, which is drew by RS traders and which is accepted by SB traders. This is just for security. Normally consignor when send the goods, at that time you need to make some security, because goods are gone in the possession of consignee, but they have no any amount get by consignor from the consignee. So many times it drew a bill and consignee accepted the bill. Okay, this transaction done in this example. So we have need to find out how to keeping the record, and we have need to keep the record of these transactions. Okay. Consignee, it means RS traders drew a bill and SB traders accepted a bill of rupees 1 lakh, which duration have 4 months. Which duration have 4 months. Pass entry by consignor. It means entry passed by RS traders. The bill received to RS traders. RS traders said to this bill is bills receivable because the bill accepted by SB traders and which it have accepted, it have loaned, and the amount is payable after some time. So this bill is become a bills receivable for RS traders. So RS trader passing journal entry, it's come, bills receivable is come in its hand. So it's generalized it bills receivable account debit, and the bill is given by consignee. So consignee's account credit. Entry for receipt due a bill, bills receivable account debit, and consignee's account credit. Okay. So write at the debit side of bills receivable to consignee's account rupees 1 lakh. Bill has due by consignor, it means RS traders, to consignee, and now there is SB traders. SB trader is a consignee. So write there by the name, actual name, because consignee is a common noun, and SB traders is a proper noun. So accounts are prepared by the proper noun. Now in the basic format there have no any person, so we are using the consignee's account, consignor account. But now this example there have name of persons are already given, so we have need to use that particular names. Okay, don't use the common noun, use proper noun. So entry is that bills receivable account debit, and consignee it means SB traders account credit. So write at the debit side of bills receivable by the name of SB traders account. Okay, SB traders account, and write at the credit side of SB traders account by bills receivable account rupees 1 lakh. Okay, bills receivable account debit and SB traders account credit. RS traders drew a bill on SB traders and SB traders accepted it. It means the bill get by RS traders, so it's passed the journal entry as bills receivable account debit and SB traders account credit. And also SB traders who accepted the bill, it passed journal entry. The bill given by SB trader to the RS trader. SB trader accept a bill and give to the RS traders. So it passing entry RS traders account debit and bills payable account credit, because this bill is a bills payable for SB traders, because it have need to pay some above amount against that bill. So it's called bills payable to that bill. And we have already taken the information about the transactions in 12th class in the bills of exchange chapter. Okay, debit side. RS traders passing entry, RS traders account, SB traders pass the entry, RS traders account debit and bills payable account credit. So write at the debit side of RS traders by the name of to bills payable account, rupees 1 lakh. And if it want to prepare the bills payable account, it can prepare it. Bills payable account. If you want to show it, you can prepare bills payable account. So at the credit side of bills payable account, write by RES traders account, rupees 1 lakh. Okay, once again, SB traders drew a bill, RES traders drew a bill on SB traders. At that time, RES traders passed the journal entry, bills receivable account debit and SB traders account credit. And SB traders accept a bill. At that time, it passed entry RES traders account debit and bills payable account credit. Okay, this is third one transactions which is done in this example. First transaction, goods sent to consignee, then consignors paid expenses, RES traders paid expenses, then it drew a bill of 4 months of rupees 1 lakh, which was accepted by SB traders. Okay, we have done this transaction. After that, goods are reached at the consignee's station in the area of consignee. Goods reached there. Consignee taking the delivery of goods. Consignee, it means SB traders taking the delivery of goods. At that time, it found that SB traders taking the delivery of goods. At that time, it found that they have missed 500 toys. They have missed 500 toys. It means when it checked the invoice pro forma and actual goods received to him, at that time it found that they have missed 500 toys. Okay, 500 toys they are missed. SB traders immediately inform that to the RES traders. SB traders inform that to RES traders they have 5 toys are missed, and RES traders have already taken the insurance. RES traders have already taken the insurance of these goods. So SB traders inform to RES traders they have 500 toys are missed. So RES traders make a claim on insurance company because these goods are insured goods. So RES traders making a claim on insurance company, and insurance company accepted the claim of rupees 45,000. Insurance company accepted a claim of rupees 45,000. Okay, it's called as abnormal loss. Now I just prepare the example and I like to cover all the points which are generally given in the example. So I just prepare the example and try to including all the transactions. Firstly, I have covered the drew a bill. These are the compulsory transactions and consignor drew a bill. And then when consignor send consignment, at that time many times they have loss of goods. It's called an abnormal loss. Now this example I give the information to you about how to find out how to calculate the amount of abnormal loss. What do you mean by abnormal loss and how to find out the value of abnormal loss and how to give the accounting treatment to abnormal loss. Okay. I just try to cover all the points in this example. So they have the abnormal loss, and consignor don't think that abnormal loss is not a consignment loss, but all the goods which are consigned by consignor are recorded at the debit side of consignment account. So when it want calculating its actual profit of consignment, and for that it have need to deduct that amount, amount of that goods which are missed, which are never come in the hand of consignee. So it can sold it. So consignor have need to deduct that amount from which he is already written at the debit side of consignment account. So firstly we have need to calculating the abnormal loss. Calculating the abnormal loss. Now it's a working note. Working note. It's not related to consignee. There are just space, so I am giving this information in there. Is there working note? This is the first calculation of abnormal loss. Abnormal loss. Calculation of abnormal loss. Now in example, they have given there have 500 toys are missed. 500 toys are missed in transit. So it's called as abnormal loss. So we have need to find out the value of abnormal loss. Firstly, listen very carefully. How to find out the abnormal loss? When you got abnormal loss at that time, just take the value of cost. First point is that cost price. Cost price of that goods. So cost price is rupees 100 per toy. We have lost 500 toys. It means 50,000. The 50,000 rupees goods we have lost. But everybody can say that 50,000 rupees 500 toys. The price of each cost price of each toy is rupees 100. So we have lost 50,000 rupees toys. But it's not true, because we just lost the 500 toys which cost price when we purchasing the goods at that time its cost price rupees 100. But for sending that goods we have need to spend some expenses like packing expenses, carriage expenses, cartage expenses, insurance, freight. So it's increased that amount. When we lost 500 toys at that time, we lost that expenses which we have made on these toys. These expenses are made for 5,000 toys. Out of that, the expenses which we have spent for these 500 toys also lost. So second point is considered there. Consignor's expenses. Consignor's expenses. You can also say that proportion of the consignor's expenses. It means consignor have done rupees 15,000 expenses for 5,000 toys. Consignor have spent 15,000 rupees. 15,000 rupees for 5,000 toys. The information is already given there. It consigned 5,000 toys. For that, it have need to spend 15,000. 10,000 for freight and insurance, 2,000 for packing, 3,000 for carriage and cartage. The total expenses done by consignor rupees 15,000. This 15,000 expenses for 5,000 toys. So for 500 toys, rupees 1,500. Okay, 15,000 for 5,000 toys. So what amount for 500 toys? As per that formula, we have got this amount. Okay, then just 2 points. Okay, 2 points. Okay, when goods are transit, listen very carefully and clearly. Okay, when you calculating the amount of abnormal loss and goods are lost in transit, it means goods are never reached at the consignee. Goods are never reached at consignee. Then consignee never making expenses for these goods, because these goods are not come in consignee's hand. So just 2 expenses are 2 points are considered there. Cost price and consignor's expenses. Don't use their consignee's expenses. Don't taking the proportion of the consignee's expenses. If you write their consignee's appropriation expenses, at that time you have wrong. Just again 2 points: cost price and consignors expenses, because goods are never reached at the consignee. The goods are lost in transit. So just 2 points taken for calculating the abnormal loss when goods are lost in transit. Just 2 points: cost price and consignors expenses. Clear? Total of that loss is abnormal loss. Abnormal loss. It become an abnormal loss. So the goods, the toys, 500 toys. When we lost 500 toys, it means we have lost rupees 51,500, not 50,000. Because this 50,000 as per the cost price, and we have already spent rupees 50,000 for 5,000 toys. It means we have already spent 1,500 for 500 toys. Is that clear? So the amount of loss is rupees 51,500. But RS traders already taken the insurance of these goods. So it claim on the insurance company. When you have getting the insurance, at that time you can make the claim for loss, because this is the role of insurance. Okay, so it's making the claim for insurance company, and insurance company accepted the claim. But insurance company accepted a claim of rupees 45,000 only. Insurance company accepted a claim of rupees 45,000 only. So it's divided into 2 parts. Insurance claim. Insurance claim. Insurance claim of rupees 45,000. And actual loss is rupees 51,500 is a total abnormal loss. Out of that, insurance company accepting the claim for rupees 45,000. So it's become an actual loss rupees 6,500. 6,500. Okay, understood that? It's a calculation of abnormal loss. Okay, so give the accounting treatment of this transaction. Accounting treatment is that it's a abnormal loss. It's recorded at the credit side of consignment account. A reason of that is all the expenses when you send the goods at that time you write at the debit side of consignment account. When you spend the expenses at that time, write at the debit side of consignment account. So when the goods are come out from consignment, the goods are lost. So these are come out. These are goes out from the consignment. They doesn't have in consignment. They are not in consignment. So we have need to firstly deducted that amount which we have written at the debit side of consignment account for these goods. We have need to deduct it. But now in accounting, we can't deducting any amount which has already written at the any side of account. When you want deducting that, at that time we have need to write at the opposite side of that account. Right at the opposite side of that account where you have already written. If the amount is written at the debit side and you want deducted from debit side, at that time you will need to write at the credit side. Okay, so that abnormal loss right at the credit side of consignment account. Now there rupees 45,000 claim has accepted by insurance company. So this amount now, as per this information, this amount is not now today not received from insurance company. Just insurance company accepted the claim. So we have need to due this amount from insurance company. So we are debited the insurance claim account or insurance company's account. So for claim by insurance claim insurance for the claims amount by insurance claim account. Insurance claim accepted by insurance company. So entry insurance claim account debit, and this is our actual loss which never gone anywhere. So normally it have right to there by the name of loss by transit, but normally persons are say that P&L account. Now in many books and many teachers teach that when you get any loss, you suffered by loss, it write by the name of P&L account. I don't like that, but I can do that. It's the actual loss. Actual loss. It means abnormal loss is divided into two parts. One is claim and second is actual loss. Claim right by the name of insurance company, right by the name of bank account if the you have got the claim, or right by insurance claim account. Actual loss you can write by the name loss in transit. Okay, I like it, loss in transit. But normally persons write that by the name of P&L account. Okay, 6,500. The total amount 51,500. You can also write this amount at the outer column, but I just want to show the abnormal loss, which is 51,500. So far I do that. Okay. Once again, insurance claim, it's divided into two parts. First one is claim and second one is actual loss. Claim right by the name of insurance claim, and actual loss right by the name of loss in transit or P&L account. Okay, it's a much correct than P&L account. But now in books they are already given P&L account, P&L account, P&L account. Abnormal loss. Once again, consignee never pass the journal entry of the abnormal loss. Entry is that insurance claim account debit for 45,000, loss in transit account debit 6,500, and consignment account credit 51,500. This is the accounting treatment of abnormal loss, and there how to find out the amount of abnormal loss. Okay. Once again, we are taking the information about that in next examples also. Okay, all the points are not covered and not cleared in only one example. There we are taking a lot of examples and making the accuracy and clarity. Okay, just consignor selling the goods, it have a bill and there have the abnormal loss, and consignor taking the delivery. Consignor taking the delivery, and it found they have missing some toys, and it informed to consignor, and consignor making the claim on insurance company. When consignor taking the delivery of goods, at that time it spent or paid rupees 2,500 for clearing charges and rupees 2,000 for carriage and cartage. Carriage and cartage, loading unloading charges. At the time of taking the delivery, consignee spent rupees 4,500, rupees 2,500 for clearing charges and 2,000 for carriage and cartage. Okay. Consignee SB traders spent rupees 4,500. At that time, it passed the journal entry by SB traders is that this amount is it spent this amount behalf of the RS traders. It's a RS traders expenses, but now the amount paid by SB traders. So when consignee spent expenses, at that time it will pass the entry consignor's account debit and cash account credit. So SB traders passing entry, RS traders account debit, cash account credit. So write at the debit side of RS traders account by the name of cash account, rupees 4,500. It's also called as consignee's direct expenses, non-recurring expenses, direct expenses, non-selling expenses also. Okay. And RS traders also pass the journal entry of this transaction. It means expenses paid made by consignee. SB traders, but entry also passed by the, it means the record has keeping by the consignor in its books, because these expenses made by consignee, but it's related to consignment. These expenses paid for the consignment, and all the consignment expenses are recorded at a debit side of consignment account. So consignor passing journal entry, consignment account debit, and consignee's account credit. Now this example, as RS traders passing entry, consignment account debit and SB traders account credit. Consignment account debit, SB traders account credit. Right at the debit side of consignment account to SB traders account, rupees 4,500, or you can write there clearing charges rupees 2,500, and carriage and cartage rupees 2,000. Total amount 4,500. Okay, 4,500. Expenses paid by consignor. Now the bill which have already drew by RS traders and SB traders accepted that consignor, it means RS traders discounted that bill through the bank. It have need of some money, so it discounted that bill from the bank. The bill after 1 month. Now after 1 month, RS traders, after 1 month, RS traders, listen very carefully because they have already example. Okay, example are hidden in this information. So after 1 month, RS trader discounted the bill at the rate of 12% per annum from bank. Okay, RS trader discounted the bill from bank. So the amount of bill is that rupees 1 lakh, and rate of discount is 12%. So 12% per annum for 12 months. It means there are 3% for 3 months. You can firstly calculate 12%. After that, you need to make a classification of this amount. The rupees 1200 or 12,000 for 12 months. If you calculated the amount at 12%, firstly we get that 12%. It means 12,000. But this rate is per annum. But we just taking the amount from bank before 3 months. 12,000 rupees, 12,000 for 12 months. It means 3,000 for 3 months. You think about that. 3 comes from, how they are coming 3? Because the bill of 4 months. But it discounted the bill after 1 month. After 1 month, it means they have balance just 3 months. And you getting the amount from bank before 3 months, so you need to allow the discount or pay the interest. It's a one interest. You need to just pay the interest of 3 months. So at the rate of 12%, the amount 12,000, but 12,000 for 12 months, it means 3,000 for 3 months. Discounted. RS trader discounted the bill. For that, it passed journal entry, bank or cash account debit. It's get the amount from bank. For that, cash account debit. Okay, rupees 97,000. Just rupees 97,000 it get from bank. So it debited the cash account. And discount is expenses. So normally we done the discount account debit. Okay, normally we debited the discount account, because when we keeping the financial record of our total business, at that time we preparing the all accounts for all particular expenses and incomes. But when we keeping the financial record of consignment, at that time we preparing the consignment account for keeping the financial record, keeping the record of all expenses and incomes. So discount is a consignment expenses, because the amount used for consignment, the amount used for consignment, and the discount is suffer for the consignment. So it's a consignment expenses. So we never debited the discount account. We just debited consignment account because this is one consignment expenses, and all consignment expenses we are debited the consignment account. So entry for that, where consignor discounted the bill, at that time entry for that cash or bank account debit for received amount, and consignment account debit for the amount of discount, and bills receivable account credit because bills receivable goes out from us. So write at the credit side because cash account and consignment account debited. So write at the debit side of consignment account to the name of bills receivable account. Bills receivable account. Rupees 3,000. This is a discount amount. Write at the credit side of bills receivable account by the name of cash account. Rupees 97,000. And by consignment account rupees 3,000. The account has already closed. Rupees 1 lakh, rupees 1 lakh. Okay, close this account. Once again, the bill is a consignor's own property, own asset. If consignor, it means it done separate transactions, there is no relation of consignee, so it can pass the journal entry of this transaction. Okay, over. Then goods are received to consignee at the end of financial year. At the end of financial year, consignee. I just wait. I want first to check it. Goods sent, then it paid expenses. There are abnormal loss, it spent expenses, then it discounted the bill, abnormal loss. Okay. Next transaction. At the end of financial year, consignee, it means SB traders sent account sales. SB traders sent account sales to RS traders, where it show that. Okay, scrolling it up. Account sales, it show that SB traders have sold. SB traders, it means consignee had sold 50% toys. Listen very carefully. SB traders sold 50% toys at the of rupees 200 each on cash. Okay, the example, SB traders, this is just SB traders sold 50% toys of rupees 200 each on cash, and 25% toys of rupees 220 each on credit. 50% of toys of rupees 200 each on cash, and 25% toys of rupees 220 each on credit. Okay, this is the information about sales which is already given in our example. Okay, now I am continuously preparing example and giving the information about how to giving the accounting treatment of these transactions. It means how to solve the example. Okay, SB traders sold 50% of toys. 50% of toys. It means they have need to making the calculation of sales. Okay, 50% of toys of rupees 200 each. 50% of toys. It means consignor have sent 5,000 toys. Out of these 500 toys already missed. It means consignee just get 4,500 toys. So it sold 50% of toys. 50% out of 4,500. 50% of 4,500 is 2,250. It means consignee sold 2,250 toys at rupees 200 each. The amount is 4,50,000. Okay, 30, 2 lakh, 4,50,000. Okay, 0, 0, 30, 10, then carry 1, 4, 5. Okay, correct. Okay, you can also making the calculation about that. 50%. Then second, 20% on cash. On cash. Okay. 25% goods, toys. 25%. We have need to just calculate the 20%. 50%. Half of 50% is 1,125. And rupees 220 each. 25%. 25% toys. 25% toys means 25% toys out of which it get just 4,500, not 5,000. Okay, so percentage calculated on the 4,500 toys. Out of that 25% toys, it means 1,125 toys it's sold by the rate of rupees 220. The amount is that it's become 2,47,500. 2,45,000 on credit. Making the calculation, check it just 0, 22. Okay, correct. Okay, credit. It means this is the cash sales and this is credit sales. Total sales 507,996. It's a total sales. Okay. It means account sales show that SB Traders had sold the goods for rupees 4,50,000 on cash. In past journal entry by SB Traders, it sold goods rupees 4,50,000 on cash. Passing journal entry by SB Traders. SB Traders sold the goods on cash. Its past journal entry, cash or bank account debit and consignor's account credit, because this amount is payable to the consignor. So consignor's account credit means RES Traders account credit. Okay, cash account debit and RES Traders account credit. Why I debited the cash? I will give the information, give the detail of everything which I have done. If you have any problem, you can call me. I will give the explain about that. And especially one day I taking special video, giving special video for give the clarity of all those things which teach by myself. So right at the credit side, by cash account rupees 4,50,000. 4,50,000. SB Traders sold the goods on cash. At that time it passed journal entry, cash account debit because it get cash, and consignor it means RES Traders account credit because this amount is payable to the RES Traders. So it's right written at the credit side of RES Traders account. It also this entry passed by the consignor, it means RES Traders passed journal entry for cash sales is that the amount is due from SB Traders. So right at the debit side of the SB Traders, it means SB Traders account debit, consignee's account debit, consignment account credit, because sales is a consignment's main income. So it's recorded at the credit side of consignment account. So right at the debit side of SB Traders by the name of to consignment account. Consignment account. You can't write there cash or bank account. It will write that because it get cash. When RES Trader passed the journal entry, at that time it debited SB Traders account and credited the consignment account. So at the debit side of consignee's account, write by the name of consignment account rupees 4,50,000. And at the credit side, you can give that for just for you cash sales by SB Traders account, rupees 4,50,000. Okay, entry for cash sales in the books of consignee, cash account debit, consignor account credit. Entry for cash sales in the books of consignor, consignee's account debit and consignment account credit. Okay, over. This is a cash sales. Then credit sales. Consignee has sold goods of rupees 2,47,500 on credit. At that time, it passing journal entry. Debtors account debit. Debtors account, sundry debtors account debit and consignor's account credit. This amount due from the debtor, so debtors account debited, and this amount due to consignor, so consignor's account credited. It means SB traders pass journal entry, sundry debtors account debit, and RS traders account credit. It's a cash sales by sundry debtors account. It's a credit sales. I have already given the information about that in my previous lecture where I teach to you the pro forma of account. Debtors 2,47,500. Okay, 2,47,500. Entry sundry debtors account debit and RS traders account credit. RS traders also pass the journal entry for when goods sent by consignee on credit. At that time, it debited the consignee's account and credited the consignment account. It means entry had passed by the RS traders is that SB traders account debit and consignment account credit. So write at the debit side of SB traders by the name of consignment account. Consignment account 2,47,500 and right at the credit side, it's a credit sale by SB traders account. It means that accounting entries for the cash sales and credit sales are different in the book of consignee, but both entries are same in the book of consignor. Okay, if consignee sold goods on cash or credit, consignor give the same effect of both the transactions. Consignee's account debit and consignment account credit. Okay, consignee has sold the goods, it's passed the journal entries and consignor also passing the journal entries. Now after that, consignee consignee spent rupees 12,000 for go down rent, rupees 10,000 for advertisement expenses, rupees 5,000 for selling expenses. Consignee, it means SB traders spent rupees 12,000 for go down, 10,000 for advertisement and 5,000 for salesman's commission. It's a indirect expenses. Go down rent, advertisement and salesman's commission. Okay, the entry had passed by SB traders is that the all amount you due expenses paid for RS traders, so RS traders account debit and cash is goes out for, so cash account credit. Cash account total amount of this section 27,000. Okay, entry of expenses is that RS traders account debit and cash account credit. The expenses paid by consignee. It passing journal entry, consignor account debit, it means RS traders account debit and cash goes out, so cash account credit. It also passes the journal entry of this transaction because these expenses are related to the consignment. So write at the debit side of consignment account, RS traders pass journal entry, consignment account debit and SB traders account credit. So write at the debit side of consignment account by the name of SB traders. It's a go down rent 12,000, advertisement 10,000 and salesman's commission commission 5,000, total 27,000. Sir, 27,000. Okay. Expenses, consignment account debit and SB traders account credit by we have missed this entry. First we will write that consignment account 4,500. Okay, we just keeping record there, but we just forget. But now consignment account 27,000. Okay, 27,000. Here first entry and this is second entry. Consignee paid expenses. Okay. After that, consignee charge its commission. Consignee charge its commission. So calculating the commission. Calculating the commission. Calculation of commission. Calculation of commission. 10% normal commission. 10% normal commission. Normal commission always calculated on the total sales. Now just see that how to calculating the commission. Normal commission is always calculated on the total sales. So total sales is there 6,97,500 into 10% is equal to 69,750. It's a normal commission. Okay, normal commission calculated on total sales. Then second, 2% day trader commission. So day trader commission, when percentage of day trader commission is not given clearly, it means just they just ask to you, they have the day trader commissions and their percentage is given. At a time, day trader commission is always calculated on the credit sales. Day normal commission calculated percentage of normal commission on total sales and percentage of day trader commission on credit sales. So they have credit sales 2,47,500. 2%. 2% it means 4,950. Okay. 0 cut 2, 10, 4, 5, 8, 9, 4. Okay. It's a day trader commission. Understood that? Normal commission calculated on total sales and day trader commission on calculated credit sales. So total commission. 007,147 74,700. It's become a consignee's total commission. So entry for consignee's commission is that it's a consignee's commission, it's a consignment's expenses. So it's right at the debit side of consignment account. SB traders. SB traders. It's a commission. Normal commission 69,750 and day trader commission 4,950. Total commission 74,700. Okay. Entry consignment account debit, SB traders account credit by consignment account 74,700. It's commission. The commission entry for commission also passed by the consignee. It means SB traders also pass the entry for its commission. Is that this amount is deducted from this amount which is payable to the consignor, to the RS traders. So it's deducted. So it's right at the debit side of RS traders account. So entry for that RS traders account debit and receive commission account credit. Receive commission account. Sir, receive commission account 74,000. Sir, 74,700. It's an entry for commission. RS traders account debit, receive commission account credit. It's also gone at the credit side of the receive commission account. If you like, you prepare the receive commission account and write at the credit side of receive commission account. Okay, it's a commission. Commission charged by SB traders. Okay, commission charged by SB traders. After that, SB traders, the second transaction of example is that SB traders collected the amount from all debtors. SB traders collected the amount from all debtors excepting Rahul. SB traders collected the total amount from debtors excepting Rahul, to whom goods have sold of rupees 5,000. It means consignee collected the total amount which it have due from debtors. It's collected total amount excepting one person whose name is Rahul, to whom it means SB traders have sold the goods of rupees 5,000. No amount had received from Rahul. Rahul is one debtor. Okay, it means SB traders collected rupees 2,42,500. Just it can't recover 5,000 rupees. Excepting 5,000 rupees, all amount it received from its debtor. So total amount 2,47,500. Out of that deducted 5,000, but the balance amount is 2,42,500. SB traders recovered the amount from debtor. It passed journal entry cash account debit. Cash account debit 2,42,500. Bad debts account debit or receive commission account debit 5,000. And okay, bad debts. When there have bad debts, you need to firstly check it if there have Dale Reader commission or not. There are Dale Reader commission. The bad debts, it's a consignee's loss. Okay. So it passing journal entry when it get Dale Reader commission is that bad debts account debit, debtors account credit. Okay. So there we can't prepare all accounts, so we don't show it. But the journal entry in the book of SB traders is that cash account debit 2,42,500, bad debts account debit 5,000, and sundry debtors account credit 2,47,500. Debtors accounts will be closed. Okay, and no accounting treatment for the bad debts is given in the book of consignor because there have Dale Reader commission is given. Dale Reader commission is given, so consignor can't give the accounting treatment to the bad debts because it's not a consignment loss. Okay. At the end of consignment, consignee, it means SB traders send a account sales along with a check of rupees 4 lakh, and he also paid the bills payable. Now at the end of example, they have given the information. SB traders send a check of rupees 4 lakh along with the account sales. Okay, SB traders send check of rupees 4 lakh to RS traders. It passed journal entry RS traders account debit and bank account credit. It's give the check, so rupees 4 lakh. Give the check of rupees 4 lakh. Okay, RS traders get the check from SB traders, so it's recorded in bank account debit and SB traders account credit by bank account rupees 4 lakh. Okay, and also they given information SB traders paid the bill. It's entry and pass to cash account rupees 1 lakh over. Okay, just last कल करते हैं इसको सर ठीक. Okay, all the transaction we have done. The goods are sent by consignee and amount paid by consignee to consignor. Okay. Calculated. We have calculated the commission. We have also calculated the abnormal loss. Calculating the amount of sales. But just now the last process we are doing that. There. Now there, consignee have sold. Consignee have sold just 22,250 toys on cash and 1,125 toys on credit. It means it just sold 75% goods. It means they have 25% goods are unsold. 25% goods are unsold. Okay, 25% goods means 1,125 goods are unsold. They have unsold stock. It's called consignment stock or unsold stock. Now when we want calculating the profit or loss of consignment, at that time we have need to find out the value of unsold stock. So it's the one working calculation we have pending there. Firstly, we have need to calculating the value of unsold stock. Okay, you understood that? It sold 2,250 goods on cash and 1,125 goods on credit, and consignor sent 5,000 goods. Okay, I will give the information in valuation of unsold stock. Its last calculation, you can say valuation of unsold stock. Okay, it's have consigned 5,000 toys. Out of that 500 toys are missed. It means it just get 4,500 toys to consignee. Out of that it sold 2,250 on cash and 1,125 on credit. Okay, it means 3,375 toys are sold by itself. It sold 3,375 toys. So out of 4,500 it's deducted 3,375. It means 1,125 are the unsold. Understood that? There are stock of 1,125 toys. Now we have need to, this is just units. We have need find out the amount of these toys. Now first we take it cost price of these goods. The cost price of each toy is ₹100 into 1,125. It's 1,12,500. Okay, 1,12,500. Second point, it means when we are valuing the unsold stock at that time, firstly taking the cost price of unsold goods. Cost price of each toy is 100 and we have 1,125 unsold toys. So the total cost price of 1,125 toys is ₹1,12,500. Second, consignor's expenses. You can also say proportion of the consignor's expenses, because at the end of financial year when we are valuing unsold stock, at that time we just using either cost price of goods or market price of goods, which is ever lower. But now there we can't know about the market price, we just know the cost price, so we have need to find out it. Cost means total expenses is known as cost. Total of expenses is known as cost. So cost price plus consignor's expenses. Consignors have spent ₹15,000. Consignor have spent ₹15,000 for 5,000 toys. 5,000 toys. It means, so for what amount it had spent for 1,125 toys. Consignor spent 15,000 for 5,000 toys. So how much amount it had paid for 1125 toys? Amount I think 3375. Okay, 00 cut 3. It means we paid 3 rupees for 1 toys. Multiply by, okay, correct. Then last, consignees. But consignees direct expenses. Listen very carefully. Consignees only direct expenses. These expenses are, now in my pro forma I have already given the information about that. These expenses are, consignees expenses are classified into 2 types: consignee direct expenses, consignees indirect expenses. Consignee direct expenses are included in the value of one source stock, but consignees indirect expenses, selling expenses, are never included in the value of one source stock. So just taking the consignees direct expenses. So consignees direct expenses total amount 4,500. 4,500. It's paid for 4,500 goods only. That's also most important, because they have abnormal loss. Consignors spent 5,000. Consignors spent 15,000 for 5,000 toys, because it sent 5,000 toys. At that time, he spent the expenses for every toy. But when consignee paid the clearing charges and loading unloading charges, at that time we just have 4,500 toys. So these expenses is paid for 4,500 toys. So what amount it had paid for 1,225 toys, and amount is 1,125. Okay, just total it. I think 1,17,000. Okay, 1,17,000. Okay, 1,17,000. Okay, it's the value of one source stock. Value of, क्लोज करते हैं, प्रॉफिट निकालना है, कल करते हैं. Value of one source stock. Okay. Now there have abnormal loss, and it's a valuation of one source stock. Clearly, now in valuation of one source stock there are 3 points are come, but now when valuation of one source stock we are getting 3 points, but valuation of abnormal loss we just get 2 points, because the consignee's expenses are never related to this stock, because these goods are not reached at the consignee. So there is no relation of consignee's expenses. So when we getting the valuation of abnormal loss, at that time don't included the consignee's expenses. If the goods are reached at the godown of consignee, after that they are making the loss, at that time we are taking the consignee's expenses. Okay. Okay, this is the value of one source stock. And for that it's pass the journal entry by consignor. Consignment stock account debit, the entry for closing stock or unsold goods at the end of consignment. Entry is that unsold stock account debit and consignment account credit by consignment stock account 1,17,000. Entry consignment stock account debit, consignment account credit. Okay. Okay, over all the transactions. So at the end of, this is the last calculation, and at the end of total example, we have need to just find out the profit or loss. Making the totals in graph 550 1 8 9 6 1 15 16 7 5 7 8 8,66,000 is the credit side total. It's a credit side total, it's a income. Okay, and then 500 200, then 5 9 12 5 6 lakh, it's a debit side total, it's a expenses. Okay, credit side total 8,66,000 and debit side total 6,23,200. 6,20,572, then 5, 6, 14, 6, 10, 13, 20, 24. Okay. The credit side total 8,66,000, debit side total 6,24,000. Okay, 800, 1, 4, 2, 2,41,800. It's profit. Okay, so credit side total 8,66,000, debit side total is less, so profit goes to P&L account. So write at the debit side P&L account. You can also write P&L profit and after in bracket you can write P&L account. But as per entry, we debited the consignment account and credited the P&L account. So write at the debit side of consignment account by the name of P&L account. In bracket profit transfer. Profit 2,41,800. Account close 8,66,000. Okay. Close. This amount goods sent on consignment it transferred to the trading account. Credit side total 5 lakh, debit side to trading account. At the end of financial year, the balance of goods sent on consignment account write at the credit side or transfer to the credit side trading account. For that, it pass the journal entry goods sent on consignment account debit, trading account credit. This account also close. Now last just keeping find out the balance amount, because now before end of with the account sales it sent the check of rupees 4 lakh, so it now not pay the final amount because they have the consignment have continued. Okay, so find out the balance amount. 6,97,500 is the total due amount, and the balance is carried down 7 2, it's 3, it's 5. 91,300. It's a balance on consignee, balance with consignee, balance on consignee. Okay, it's also consignee closed their accounts. You know that rupees 6,97,500 is the total payable amount, and it has spent making balance carried down rupees 91,300. Firstly check it. 5, 12, 15 carry 1, 5, 12, 16, 17, then 17, 3, 3, 10, 10, 9, 19, 1, 2, 6. Okay, okay, complete the transition, complete the example. Okay, this is first example where we are getting the total information, financial record, all accounts in the books of consignor and all accounts in the books of consignee, then calculation of abnormal loss, accounting treatment of abnormal loss, calculation of commission, day trader commission, valuation of unsold stock. Also giving the information like that in our next videos. Okay, thank you so much.